I work for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and this is an absolutely perfect day to be out on the water. So I'm out here today in a boat, got my life jacket. I actually texted my float plan already to my family back home, and I'm gonna be going crappie fishing. So if you guys will come with me, we're gonna see if we can learn a little bit about crappie in the lake and how to catch them. And hopefully it's how to catch them and how not to catch them. All right, let's get going. All right, we made it to our fishing spot, and so let me tell you just a little bit about the types of poles that I use. This is a spin cast, which basically means it has a rod and reel that spins. I always call it the push button pole because that's what it is. It's got a push button on it. The thing about crappie fishing is we're usually, especially here in the early spring, up in these little tight spots where we need a long fishing pole to get to the spot. So in this case, this is going to be a 10-foot pole. So a lot of times when you talk to fishermen, especially, really avid crappie fishermen, they're going to have 10 or 12-foot poles. And the idea is that a longer pole, we can kind of just reach out and flip our little bobber and our bait over into our little kind of hidey hole. And we don't have to try to maneuver or get tangled up in the weeds. Any length works. You can fish with a 4, 5, 6, 8-foot pole, but sometimes it makes life a little easier to have our long pole. So this is what we're going to be using today. All right, so let's talk for just a second about how to rig our crappie pole. Pretty much in fishing, there's never a right way and never a wrong way to rig your pole. What works one time may not work the next. But basically for crappie, what we want to do if we're going to be doing live bait, which is what we're going to start with, is we want a bobber on our pole, and we're going to put, so we've got us a little bobber on here, and we want a split shot, so some kind of a little weight. The idea with crappie is you want a fairly lightweight split shot because you don't want something super heavy like for catfish to drag it, all the way down. Just something to put the bait under the water. And then a small hook. Now, the cool thing about fishing to me is there's all kinds of hooks out there, but most of them are pretty dummy proof when you go to buy them because they're going to actually have a picture of the fish it's designed for or information about the fish it's designed for on there. So a relatively small hook for the crappie. And I personally like to put my hooks on with a swivel, little barrel swivel, so that I can switch out because I like to change between minnows and jigs a lot. I'm kind of an impatient fisherwoman. So anyways, I have a swivel and then I have a hook. So for crappie, kind of in wrap up here, bobber, you got yourself a small lead weight or split shot and then a little hook. And that's how we're going to get started with our minnows. All right, guys, so when we go to do live bait, which is basically a minnow for crappie, there's 3 ways you can hook them. A lot of people hook it through the lips to hold it. Some people hook it through the belly or the back, and then I like to hook it through the tail. But there's 3 ways, and all we have to do is hook it on there, and preferably you want to keep your minnow alive so that it's still moving whenever we are in the water. And he's going to move a lot in my hand, and I'm sure we're going to drop them in a minute. But the idea is to keep him alive so that he kind of moves when he's out there. So again, through the lips, through the back, or through the tail, and we toss him in the water, and the crappie's going to think he is yummy, yummy lunchtime. All right, guys, look what we just caught. All right, a massive, well, I say massive for me anyways, white crappie. So we actually have 2 kinds of crappie, which is white and black. We know this one is a white. Part of it is, if you look at his pattern, it's kind of a vertical stripes with less splotching in between. The black crappie has a little more black splotching in between the stripes. Also, the easiest way is to count the spines on top of the dorsal fin. And a white crappie will have 5 or 6 spines, and then a black crappie will have something like 7 or 8. So here's our nice white crappie.